Welcome back to the Learn to Love You show. My name is Renita Hills, and I'm honored to be your host for the evening. I am also the founder and CEO of Voice of the Victim. Voice of the Victim is an organization that works with victims and survivors of domestic abuse, abusive behaviors, and sexual assault. Our goal, our end game, our endeavor is to help victims and survivors to transition from being a victim to survivor and ultimately a thriver in spite of the abuse they've endured. Thank you for joining us again this evening. And as promised, we have a couple of things we're going to talk about. I want to always start out with an encouraging word and something what I think is inspirational. I picked this idea up a couple of days ago and I thought this might be a good place to start using it myself. So, if you look right in front of you, that statement says adventure is calling. So, with saying adventure is calling, I encourage you to take the step out and do something different. Be adventurous. Take a chance on something new and something inspiring. Do something that you love. Be adventurous because it's calling your name. Again, as promised in our last show, we're going to talk about different types of abuse, different types of abusive behaviors, sexual assault. And again, I want to remind you it is never the person who's being abused, who's being assaulted. It's never their fault. So when I talk about it, please know and understand that it's not from an accusation point of view. I'm never being pointing the finger or saying what you should or should not do. One thing I will do is I'll use myself. I'll use myself as the example. Last week, you got a chance to hear a little bit of my story. So I want to go ahead and expound on it a little bit and start talking about what the things that I went through and using myself as an example. I'm going to be very transparent. I'm going to be an open book. If you have questions, you're more than welcome to contact me and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. This week's topic is going to be mental and emotional abuse. And a lot of people think, okay, that's not so deep. That's not so bad. But in my case, and in my opinion, I think mental and emotional abuse is much worse than physical abuse. I look at the scars at myself now and I take a look in the mirror, and many times I don't even see the scars. I don't even see the stab wounds. I don't see the stitches. I don't see the rayed skin. I can't remember what they call it when you have a scar and it leaves a bruise or a black mark. I don't see those anymore. Other people might see them, but I don't see them. But I hear the negative things that was said to me throughout the time that he and I were together. Mental abuse, and yes, I did look it up. So I'm going to read it off to you. It is a way to control a person by using emotions to criticize, embarrass, shame, blame, or manipulate another person. And because it's so subtle, it's not something that you would see off the bat. It's subtle, it's underlining. It's like everybody else would think is, oh, that's cool. They're not playing anything, they're not doing anything weird. But that underlining stuff, that's what that would hit more than anything else. For example, let's say I'm gonna use a criticizing one. I'm gonna use an example for myself. I came home and I thought, "Ooh, I'm gonna cook this fabulous meal." I went and pulled out my grandmother's recipe for spaghetti, her special sauce, and all those little seasons she put in there. And I did some fried chicken. I did it the way my mama did it, and I did the garlic bread, and I did this big fabulous meal, and I made a lemon pound cake from scratch and the frosting from scratch. And I made this meal and I put it before them. They ate it and it was like, we had a great conversation. I thought things were going really super well. All of a sudden, he says, "Oh, that was a great meal, but you need to work on your pasta." That was a backhanded insult, wasn't it? It started there. It was a great meal, but you need to work on your pasta. Now, back then, I wasn't as the person I am now. Back then, I thought, wait a minute. You just insulted my grandmother's recipe. Let me go back and make sure I did something wrong. I automatically put the light on me to think that I did something wrong. Maybe I need to do something better. When they realized that I took it as a personal thing, they said, "Oh, wait a minute. Let me work on something else." After a while, it wasn't just my cooking. After a while, oh, you've gained a little bit too much weight. Then I started working out longer. Then they started saying, wait a minute, you don't clean well. Then I started doing exceptionally hard work on cleaning. And everything he said I couldn't do or wasn't doing well, I took it personally and I took it internally. And I tried to change me. It wasn't anything wrong with me. If you don't like my pasta, don't eat it. You don't like the way I clean? Well, you're welcome to go clean yourself. If I've gained too much weight, well, that's not your problem either. That's me. I'm happy in my skin. And I say that because we as women, we struggle with weight. Now, I'm not saying men don't, but we as women, we look at the magazines and we see these size 8 and 9s and 10s, and in reality, that is not what they look like. When they get home, they don't look the way they look on that magazine. That's a whole lot of makeup, a whole lot of clothes, a whole lot of strapping this down and pushing this up to make those people look as beautiful as they appear to be. You have to like the person that you are, full figured, all the curves, everything that you truly are, like the person you see when you look in the mirror. I had to learn that. I messed around and I lost so much weight. I am 6 foot tall. And I was getting to the point where I was wearing a size 12. Then I got down to a 10. I got down to an 8. I had lost so much weight that when I went to a Tina Turner concert, and I was working it, and I had to wear the black skirt and the white top. I went out and went shopping to find a new skirt because I wanted to look good because I had backstage passes to talk to Tina because I want to know what love got to do with it. Me and Tina was gonna have a conversation. So I went out, bought me this cute little outfit and little black top, white top, black skirt, got me the cute little heels to go with it, the whole 9 yards. And the lady said, oh, I told her, get me a size 12. Got me a 12. I zipped it up and it just dropped clean off me. I said, oh, this is too big. Can you get me a smaller size? She went and got me a 10. Fell right off me. I said, wait a minute. Can you get me a smaller size? Now, when she went to get me the size 8, I turned around and looked in the mirror and I could see my ribs. I mean, really, it would look like a xylophone. I was like, wait a minute, something wrong. That's not good. I could see the bones in my chest. I can see my collarbone. I was looking unhealthy. Now, don't get me wrong. Tina Turner was that weekend. I went and got that size 8 dress so I can go to that concert and I can go backstage. But then I started thinking, I need to eat. I had gotten to where I was really only eating one meal a day, drinking a lot of water, but I was only eating one good meal a day, running 2 miles twice a day. Insane to keep my weight down because he said I was getting too big. I was so grateful for the Tina Turner concert because I got a chance to look and see, wait a minute, this is not healthy. And I say that to not let for you to not let anybody have that much power over who you are and what you are. Love the person that you see when you look in the mirror. That person is a phenomenal person, male, female, boy, or girl. That person is phenomenal in the skin that they are in. Love on that person. So, again, they talked about my cooking and I went back and started redoing everything I cooked. I got to the point at one time I stopped cooking because everything was not good enough. I started buying food out. And then even that was a complaint. Okay, what do you want? You don't like my cooking. You don't like what I bring in. What do you want? I got into a place where I said, forget it. You just don't eat. It took me a long time to get there. But I finally got to the place where I said, if you don't like what's on the table, you just don't eat. Then I went through the stage of losing all that weight looking like a scarecrow. Well, like I said, you can see the bones looking like a xylophone on my ribs and on my collarbone. I just looked terribly unhealthy. Then I got to the point where he said, I just wasn't cleaning the house enough, and I wasn't a good mother, and I wasn't a good employee. I wasn't bringing enough money in the house. I was working for the state of Georgia at the time, one full time job and two part time jobs. He was working in a gym and he was only doing that part time, but I was the problem why bills weren't getting paid. Do you see what I mean? Why the mental abuse? And then I was trying to go back to school. And he messed around and told me, why are you wasting your time and your money going back to school? You know you're not going to graduate. You're not smart enough to do it. And who's going to take care of the kids when you go? I'm not. No support whatsoever from that person. And again, another level of abuse. It wasn't physical. He did not hit me, but he did strip away who I was, the person that I loved, the person that I thought I appreciated. He stripped away the Renita that was Renita. It had gotten to the point that I started believing what he was saying it to me. I started believing it myself. I say all this to you is don't let anybody reprogram you. Don't let them do that to you. Because now, this happened 19 years ago. Now, 19 years later, almost 20, again, I don't see the bruises. I don't see the cuts. I don't see the stab wounds. I don't see the when I do my hair, I don't see the splitting the scarf from the back of my head to the top of my head. I don't see any of those things. But every single morning I'm in the mirror saying, "Girl, you got this. You're smart enough to handle this. You got this job." I'm constantly reprogramming my mind to know that I am good enough. I'm smart enough. I am enough just in the skin that I am. I'm not too big. You are beautiful. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. I am constantly telling myself that I am enough. I want you to know that too. You are enough just as you are. I've said in the last show, you are fearfully and wonderfully made by the hands of God. He created you to be just who and what you are. Now, if you think you got a few too many pounds on, then go and work it off. But let it be something that you want to do, not because of anyone else. You want to go back to school? Go back to school and do it because that's what you want to do, because you can do it. I ended up going back to school and graduated with honors. Thank you very much. I graduated and my departmental chair looked at me and said, "Renita, you are an amazing person." And I didn't understand what she meant. Somebody messed around and told her about my history. And she said, "You are an amazing person because you went back after all that you went through and you still went and got your degree. And not only did you get your degree, you did it with honors." And my kids were in school with me. One of my children, my son, and then we talk about this all the time. It was funny. We took the same class. He took it at 8 o'clock. I took it at 9 o'clock. The same instructor. We bought one book. We studied it together, and we both got A's out of the class. It's never too late to go back to school. It's okay to walk on the same campus with your child. I did it with two of mine, and it was really great. They supported me when I wanted to quit. They said, "Go ahead." One child said, "Well, that's your degree. You want to quit? Quit." My son said, "Good. If you quit, then I can quit too." See, they was not working with me quitting. You put people around you that won't allow you to give up on you. You have to surround yourself with supportive and encouraging people. Negativity and toxicity is not allowed in your circle. You have to put people there that'll call you on your bluff, call you on it every day. I got people even now to this day, like I said, 19 years later, I still have people that call me on my bluff. They call me on my, "No, you can't quit. You got too much to do." What, quit? Okay. I tell you what you do. I have my friend Yvette tells me now, "Oh, you can sit home. You can stay home today, but tomorrow morning, this is your assignment." Why am I on this tangent? Because you have to learn how to love yourself enough to mentally program yourself to say, "I may have to slow down. I may even have to pause, but my end game, I'm going to get to my end game. I'm going to meet my goals." Write them down. If you have a thought, write them down. When you write a thought down, it becomes a goal. When you get the goal into action, it becomes an ambition. It becomes someplace that you have to go. It becomes a destination. It becomes changes from a thought to an ambition to a destination. Get moving on your things. You got ideas. I often talk to people when I do small groups. They say, "Miss Hills, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I want to be. I don't know what I want to grow up to be." And they're thinking grow up, but they're thinking I'm too old. You're never too old. If you have a lost space in your mind of what to do next, Go back to what you want to be when you're a little girl. Think about that time when you was outside in the backyard trying to play fireman with your other friends. Go back to what you wanted to be when you were young and build from that. When I was young, I wanted to be an attorney. I wanted to be a defense attorney because I wanted to fight for the underdog. I want to wear a suit. I want to wear them sharp, shiny shoes. I want to carry a briefcase. And I want to be able to stand before the judge and say the defense rests and know that I've won. Am I an attorney? No, I am not. But I'm an advocate. And I still fight for the people who can't fight for themselves. I'm still there helping people to build their own war and fight their own war and build their own arsenal so that they can fight for themselves. I say that to say, go back to when you were little. What did you want to do? What was the one thing, if nothing else you can do, you want to go out there and make mud pies, then maybe you should go into being a bakery. Open a bakery. Start baking cakes, baking cookies, pies. If there's one thing in the world that you want to do and you would do it for free, not saying to do it for free, but you would find that thing and do it. Go ahead. It's your life. And you're not over. It's not over yet. My grandmama said, as long as you're on the top side of the soil, you still got time to get it done. So go out there and get it done. It's you. Mentally prepare yourself to move forward. Start waking up in the morning. I have my mirror in the bathroom. It's not as much on my bathroom as much as my bedroom now, but I have inspirational thoughts all across my mirrors. Across the desk, you'll see here, I have inspirational thoughts. When I feel myself feel like I'm gonna fall apart, like it's something I can't do, I stop and think, okay, stop, Renita, stop. Who are you? You're Renita Hills. Whose are you? You're the king's kid. Why are you? I'm here to fulfill a purpose, a plan, and a destiny. Now, what are you going to do? I'm going to walk it out. Sometimes you have to stop and talk to yourself. In the morning, my kids, I got caught doing this. I'm not going to do it on TV today, but I got caught doing this, and my daughter told me don't ever do it again. I was having a really, really, really bad week. So one morning I got up and said, hey, and I started doing my dance in the mirror. And she caught me doing my dance in the mirror. And I said, this is I Love Me dance. Whatever it takes for you to feel confident about yourself, to build your inner self up, to make your mind know that you can achieve anything you set your heart and your mind to do. Let's do it. You need some help with that? Find me. I'm on Facebook, Renita Hills. Find me. At the end of the show, look at the credits. You'll find a number that you can reach me at. You'll find my email address. Let's connect. And it doesn't matter if you're not in the same city or state that I'm in. There's telephones that we can call each other. We can talk. We can set up times where we can encourage each other. We can connect. Like and subscribe to this YouTube page so you can hear something encouraging every single day. I'm going to be there for you, but I need you to fight for yourself. One of the things I also tell the people when I'm working with them, I will fight for you as hard as you need me to fight. I will. But this is your bus. You're the driver of this bus. I'm just sitting on the front seat with the navigational system. I'm the GP. I have a GPS in one hand. I have a map in the other. You tell me where you want to go, and I will find a way to help you get where you want to be. But you have to go back to that core of having the mindset. Your mental capacity has to be to the point where at least I'm willing to take that first step. Love yourself enough to take the first step. That's the most challenging one. You want to go back to school? Let's research schools. And I'm not necessarily saying four-year institutions. I'm not even saying junior colleges. Gentlemen, you want to go back to being an auto mechanic? Go back to school. You want to go out and be a barber? Go back to school. You want to be an electrician? Let's go back to school. This is not just for the ladies that I'm talking to. We're talking to the men too. Because women have a way of stripping you of your mental health as well. Tell you a secret. Women, close your ears. Men, we have a way of doing it in a way that even you don't even know it. Because God did not build us to be physically able to take out a man. We're the weaker gender, and we understand that. But we have a way with our words that will strip a man and make him feel emasculated and make him feel small, unneeded, unwanted, and unloved. Ladies, don't do that to your men. If you're not going to love him, let him go. The same way you would want a man to let you go if he's going to beat on you. I'm gonna need you to let the man go if you're not gonna treat him right, if you're not gonna talk to him right, if you're not gonna support him right. It goes both ways. Abuse goes both ways. Gentlemen, don't let anybody strip you of who you are. We need you to be men. We need you to be the strength that we can't do it on our own. Contrary to what we might say all the time, we need you to be strong and be the strength for us and our future children. It's a tough road. It's a rough road. But I promise you, we can get there together. We can do this. And again, I keep saying we because I have not arrived. I'm working on me every single day. Now, if you find yourself in a situation where you're feeling like you're being in an abusive scenario, there is a national number to call: 1 800 799 7233. Easy way to remember it: 1 800 799 SAFE, SAFE. That's a number you can call that goes across the entire United States. You don't have to be in the city of Indianapolis. You don't have to be in Indiana. Although there are domestic violence shelters and help in every state, call that 800 number and they'll help connect you to someone who can help you find the help you need. I want to say this one last thing before we go. Don't think that because it wasn't physical abuse that it's not a bad thing. Don't think that because it wasn't physical that it wasn't hurtful, that it wasn't harmful. It was very harmful. It took away mental abuse, and emotional abuse takes you away from who you are. And once again, that's a healing that takes time. It took I would say less than a year for me to get over the physical abuse. Because remember, last week I told you I had both lungs punctured and collapsed. My left shoulder was split open. My right shoulder had no activity in. My head was split open. My face was sliced. You look at me now and you wouldn't see any of that. But inside of a year of being on disability, all those scars were gone. But here it is, almost 20 years later, I'm still working on the mental and the emotional part of the abuse. I'm still working on it. I'm still going to counselors and therapy. I'm still working on it. It's a process. I know it's a taboo in the African American community, especially, but go see a counselor. Talk it out. Somebody is there to help. If you need to find somebody, again, call that 800 number. Call your local health departments. They can help you give you guidance. 211 can help give you guidance on how to find some assistance. But don't sit there hurting. Don't sit there waiting for some white knight to come sweep you up and ride you off into the sunset. That was real cute for Cinderella. That was real cute for Rapunzel. But in real life, you're going to have to fight for your own hero. You have to be your own hero. And I believe you can do it. I believe you can. Why? Because you're sitting here listening to me today. That's the first step. It makes me know that you want to know how to do better. It lets me know that you're looking for keys and cues and avenues and opportunities and options to do better for yourself. And they're there. They're there for you. I just need you to step up and do what it takes to find the help for yourself. You're here. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you so much for being here tonight. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free in the comment section, ask the questions. If you want to do it privately, I understand that because there are some things that you just don't want the world to know. Find me on Facebook and inbox me. You're more than welcome to ask me any question, and I'll do my absolute best. If I don't have the answers, I will find them for you. But remember, you are wonderful. and beautiful and perfect just as you are. You don't have to change for anybody else. Predator prey. We'll talk about predator prey at the next show. So don't leave me. Come back next week. We'll talk about predator prey, and we'll learn how to identify which one is which and make sure that you're not one of them. Now, don't get me wrong. Nothing is perfect. Nothing is etched in stone. We'll still have opportunities to look at something and see it the wrong way, or look too deeply or not deeply enough. But I'd rather you err on the side of safety every single time. So we're going to look at predator and prey next week. So come back and talk to me. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you taking out the time. Remember, you're fearfully and wonderfully made by the hands of God. His fingerprints are all over you. And one last thing, and we're going to close as we always do. Beneath your skin and behind your eyes is a beautiful you. Learn to love you. Until next time, have a great one.